Turkey has cut diplomatic relations with Israel completely, following the severance of trade and commercial ties since May 2nd. This development has made the scenario of war seem plausible for two main reasons. On one hand, Turkey's defense minister has stated that Israel might initiate a war and attack regional countries. On the other hand, there is concern that the Israeli-Turkish conflict could expand regionally towards Cyprus and Greece. The United States has specifically intervened to prevent Hezbollah's Hassan Nasrallah from threatening Cyprus to avoid an escalation. Today there is a potential for expanding the conflict as Israel focuses on Cyprus, which falls under Turkey's strict national security domain. This convergence of interests creates a dangerous situation that could lead to war in the eastern Mediterranean. The issue isn't just related to Lebanon or Gaza, but also to the vast wealth in oil and gas reserves beneath these waters. Israel appears to be moving towards making American capital the sole investor in the region, focusing on a Greek Cypriot-Israeli corridor, possibly including Egypt, to counter Turkey. Turkey's decision to sever ties entirely with Israel is now evident. It has become clear that Israel supports Kurdish independence, while Turkey stands firmly with Palestine, as expressed in Erdogan's words that the Palestinian cause aligns with Turkish interests. After recent Israeli actions against Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah, Israel's moves seem aimed at blocking any potential Islamic unity, which could lead to significant economic cooperation. Israel is attempting to prevent this alignment, especially the quadrilateral alliance of Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. Israel aims to establish a direct military and economic corridor with the United States. The accords prevent Egypt from severing ties with Israel despite the strategic risks. The situation has shifted since the 1967 war, when Israel occupied Palestinian lands designated by the 1947 Partition Plan. This occupation and the subsequent shift in alliances have left Palestine with little land, primarily limited to Gaza and the West Bank. Today the region seems on the brink of war due to escalating rounds of bombing between Israel and Iran. Turkey's severing of ties with Israel raises the possibility of a broader conflict, especially as both Turkey and Iran remain committed to supporting Jerusalem and distancing themselves from Israel. The Arab world, meanwhile, appears closer to Israel in this new regional map. However, Israel still fears a real war with Iran, possibly supported by Turkey. Hezbollah, under Nasrallah, has signaled the potential to strike Cyprus, aligning with Turkey's interests. Now, Turkey's severed relations with Israel underscore the critical question of Syria's role in this emerging dynamic. Syria, now aligned with Turkey against Israel, may force opposition groups that were previously allied with Turkey to reconsider their stance. Israel is investing directly in a Kurdish state, aiming to prevent the formation of a Palestinian state and countering Turkey and Iran, which support Hamas politically, militarily, and in other ways. In contrast, Israel plans to expand into the West Bank, as stated by Smotrich, and aims to render Gaza uninhabitable, pushing for its depopulation. The current situation is highly complex and poised for a regional war, with Turkey's defense minister Yasar Güler warning that a war between Israel and Turkey could escalate into a global conflict, given the potential for widespread nuclear engagement, unlike the Russia-Ukraine situation where Putin limited the conflict to avoid nuclear escalation with Europe. On what basis did it rely? It relied firstly on destabilizing NATO from within, as Turkey, which has cut ties with Israel, is a NATO member. This situation now presents a dilemma for both Biden and Trump, as America's unwavering support for Israel has led Turkey to sever its relations. This presents a critical situation: either NATO loses influence despite managing a full-scale war against Russia, or it takes action against Israel. The implications are significant, with groups like AIPAC and other lobbies, along with some American officials, aiming to distance Turkey from NATO. This alignment would place Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Iran in direct confrontation with Israel and the US, positioning the Islamic world against Israel and the West. This division, increasingly viewed as one between the West and Islam, aligns with a rise in ideologies supporting Judeo-Christian values, often interpreted as Zionist in nature. This severance of relations could potentially lead to a global conflict, marking a historic shift. Turkey, as the only Muslim country in NATO, may now face expulsion. Interestingly, prior to Trump's presidency, and despite his role in the Abraham Accords and normalization efforts, there was a momentum toward alignment that is now difficult to reverse. Arab states may find themselves compelled to cut ties with Israel, though Egypt and Jordan, constrained by the risks of displacement, see maintaining relations as strategically important. In the West Bank and Rafah, escalating tensions could lead to a crisis, potentially pushing Israel to unilaterally sever ties with Gaza and abandon efforts toward a long-term connection with it. According to Turkey's defense minister, a regional war is now highly probable, with Turkey and Iran aligning with Palestine, presenting a united front against Israel. This exceptional situation raises the possibility of a Turkish-Israeli war over Cyprus and Greece, as reported by the Greek press. Turkey's refusal to abandon Palestine and Gaza suggests that a regional ceasefire may only be achievable if it includes provisions supportive of Palestine. With Jerusalem increasingly at the center of this conflict, the latest severance of Turkish-Israeli ties has been hailed by Hezbollah's al-Manar as a strategic win for Lebanon, aligning all parties toward the potential liberation of Jerusalem. The prospect of a regional war is thus imminent unless East Jerusalem is declared the capital of a Palestinian state. For Turkey, which upholds the 1947 partition plan, also known as UN Resolution 181, the return of occupied lands to their previous status is seen as essential. Iran, advocating for a single Palestinian state open to a referendum for all residents, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, based on pre-1948 demographics, presented this solution at the Riyadh summit. Turkey and Iran's stances, significantly more assertive than the Arab League's proposal, represent a stark alternative. Israel faces either a South African-style apartheid dissolution through demographic shifts, or a return to pre-1967 borders. Today, Israel sees war as necessary to counter these pressures, while others are severing relations to assert their claims over Jerusalem. This situation places the Islamic world in what could be a defining battle, with Turkey's defense minister warning that Israel is driving the region toward a third world war. Thank you and goodbye.